Corla. Ministers, look, despite what we're listening to across the way over the last number of hours, I'm here to commend the work of all ministers from the three parties in relation to much of the work and investment that's been put in over the last number of months. Look, I'll start with my own area of education, and it's very encouraging for me to see the introduction of the €50 million of free books for primary schools, and I have no doubt that in time, now that that system is embedded, we will see that rolled out in a future budget at secondary level, and that's much welcome. Also, I've taught in classrooms where there's been more than 25, 30 children. I've experienced how those overcrowded classrooms are one of the biggest barriers to effective teaching, and it's great to see for the third year running that this minister has reduced the pupil-teacher ratio. From when she started, it was 26:1, it's now down to 23:1. And not to mention the introduction of, between SNAs and special education teachers, there's going to be 2,180 new posts. I think both ministers are to be commended for that. Also, we have, a 10% increase in the overall special education budget, and it now accounts for a significant portion of the Department of Education's overall spend. Something, for me, that's much needed is the financial award of 54 posts for NEPs, which will hopefully provide much needed psychologists so that we can make further dents at those backlogs in relation to assessments of needs. Something personal for me that I've been involved with over the last 12 months, and I'm glad to see that an allocation has been made for it, is the provision of 40 new Irish Sign Language posts, and this will allow children who are deaf or hard of hearing to attend mainstream schools with the constitutional right that they have to be facilitated by an Irish Sign Language interpreter that will accompany them into the class. So the money is actually now there for those posts, and that's very much welcome also. I just have to also acknowledge the progress on the school transport issue. It's been one that many deputies in the House would have experienced over the last number of months and every summer for the last number of years. And it was encouraging to hear the Minister tonight explain that she thinks that under the current review that we will finally move to a demand-led model. And when I heard that, that was very encouraging. And I welcome the provision again, of extra money to facilitate the 6,000 concessionary ticket holders. I'd also just like to pay reference to childcare, and as somebody with 3 children, myself 3 young kids, all at preschool level, we have now seen significant intervention from the state for the second year running that now accounts for about €1 billion investment that is bringing costs down for families, and that's very much welcome. I'm hearing reports that some families could benefit of up to €2,500 per annum off their childcare costs. Again, just one final piece that myself, Minister Anne Rabbitte and Minister Michael McGrath have worked on over the last number of months, and it was great to see Minister Rabbitte raise it earlier in her own piece. We now have €900,000 allocated to Cork and Galway for the first time paediatric neuro service, so families will no longer have to travel to the NRH or travel from all corners of the country to Dublin. They will now have the facility available to them in Cork and Galway to meet nurses and consultants. There's also 1.7 million allocated in that neuro piece for the provision of neurological nurses, and again, filling those posts, it needs to be a matter of urgency. Just one last reference. I think the biggest criticism I'm hearing from opposition benches is that this budget didn't provide certainty. And I find it laughable that it didn't provide certainty. It's given people, cash, pensioners, carers, people with disabilities have seen significant increase in their income. And to say that it lacks certainty, I'd love to see, the price cap that's been spoken about across the way, that doesn't provide certainty. As we can see in the UK, they've already revisited their limits on that. And we can see what's happening there across the water is obviously, it's not providing certainty whatsoever. So this government has provided certainty. It's putting money into people's pockets and into energy credits. Gormagat.